Alright guys, what is going on? In this video I want to talk really briefly about barefoot running. Now, a good amount of people, since I started talking about this primarily on Instagram, but even on YouTube, once they saw my videos about me talking about barefoot running, they reached out to me and said, how do I start doing this? How do I get into it? Let me hear it. Folks, you want to download an app called C25K, which stands for Couch to 5K. Couch to 5K walks you through, I think it's a 9-week program where it takes you from 1 week to the other in small increments where you're increasing the amount of run time every other day until at the end you run a 5K, which is a little over 3 miles. However, if you're doing this barefoot, you have to be very careful because if you go too quick, you can cause damage. And that's not to say that barefoot running is dangerous. Barefoot running is far healthier than running in shoes, contrary to widespread popular belief about running. Shoed running is horrible for your knees, for your hips, for your joints, for your back, for your posture. We've gone over this in the past. If you're getting into barefoot running, you need to go slow. Start off, even if you're currently a runner with shoes, if you can run over a 3K in shoes, do the Couch to 5K program, and instead of running every other day, listen to your body. If after the first day on the Couch to 5K program, you're sore, that's fine. You're probably going to if you're doing barefoot, if you've never done it before, because you're using different muscle groups, bones are working and articulating differently, etc. Instead of running every other day, like the C25K program tells you to, wait until all of that soreness goes away and then do your next run. Let your body completely heal. Take about 3 grams of MSM to 10 grams after every run. Listen to your body. When you're running barefoot, in the same way that when you're walking barefoot, your bones are communicating with the ground much differently than they do than when you're wearing shoes. Your brain is taking in so much more data when you're barefoot because of all the nerve endings in your feet making contact with the ground unshielded with shoe condoms. Go slow. Eventually it'll get to the point where the soreness fades away and your body will rebuild itself. But you've got to go slow. You've got to let your body heal. And you should, before you start doing barefoot running, for about a month or two, barefoot walk every day like I've been recommending that you do for years. Even if you're not going to be a runner, you need to be walking barefoot on the grass, on the dirt, on the sand for the grounding effect, and on the cement. Preferably for an hour a day so that your posture will realign itself and your vertebral openings will reopen and adjust themselves. Shoes are killing people. There is a huge conspiracy behind shoes, ladies and gentlemen. And I know they're convenient and I get it. There's sharp objects out there. But wearing shoes all the time, it is insanity. It's absolute insanity because for one, they take you out of your ability. They take you away from your ability to be grounded to the earth when you're standing on the earth. The flow of electrons don't flow through the shoe sole up into your foot meridian and into your body. There's roughly, I believe, 7,000 nerve endings in each foot that when you put a shoe over them, they do not communicate with the earth properly. And then in doing so, it does not communicate with the stability portions of your brain and your brain in general. So like when you're wearing shoes, you're not training your brain. I know that sounds crazy, and we've gone over this in the past, how it works, and I'll continue to in the future, but I got to make this one short because I'm almost home. The Couch to 5K program. Go slow. Don't try to sprint until about like the 5th or 6th week in the program. Then you can start doing your sprints. But be careful. Like, I don't think people realize how much the body has changed over 20 plus years. Most people have been wearing shoes. The body actually changes its posture based on the constant wearing of shoes. Your posture is way out of alignment. So we've got to go slow into this. But barefoot running and the runner's high is incredible. I have a shamanic experience when I run barefoot, if I go long enough. The runner's high is a very real thing, but I've run in shoes before, and the runner's high is not the same. It's because when you're barefoot, the nerve endings in your feet is communicating with your brain in a much different way through your spine, through your vertebral openings. Running barefoot, if you get a good cadence, is a very shamanic experience, ladies and gentlemen, because it's an act of communication. Your feet are communication tools with the ground beneath your feet. And you might step on a piece of glass. That's the one thing I hear the most. What if I step on a piece of glass? Folks, I've been walking barefoot for over 12 years, usually over an hour a day. Now I walk 2 to 3 hours a day with Luna. I've had a piece of glass in my foot maybe like 1 to 3 times, and it was tiny. I've been running barefoot for a very long time. I don't get glass in my feet. I have eyeballs in my head, and I scan the ground in front of me as I strike my foot on it. And that's another thing. When you're barefoot, you have to be more gingerly in your stride because you could step on something. And the act of scanning your environment while you're barefoot actually causes the brain to enhance itself because you're using your eyes and your brain is working so much more effectively because you're scanning your environment. When you wear shoes, you feel like you can walk on anything. You don't have to use that portion of your mind. The problem with shoes, though, is most shoed runners have a serious injury if they're serious about running within the first year. You get a lot more injuries running in shoes because they're clunky. If you accidentally get the edge of the rubber sole to hit a piece of ground that's broken, you'll roll your ankle, etc. Shoed runners have far more injuries than barefoot runners or minimalist shoed runners. And on top of that, you guys, the recovery time for barefoot runners is far quicker, and there's plenty of evidence to attest to that. Read the book Born to Run. Peace be with you.